Good day, and welcome to Trusting God at All Times, a daily devotion of Peakland United Methodist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia. My name is John Vest, and I'm the pastor here at the church. There are a few moments in time when people remember where they were when they heard the news. The assassination of John Kennedy is one such time. The beginning of the Gulf War and the Space Shuttle Challenger accident might be two more. For most of us, the events of September the 11th, 2001 is one of those moments when time stood still. I was at Shady Grove United Methodist Church in Mechanicsville, in the suite of offices in the basement, when Chris, a young man just starting to get involved in church life, came in and said a plane has flown into one of the towers in New York City. We found a television, hooked it up as best we could with a rabbit ear antenna, and watched the day unfold. Emotions ran from disbelief, how can such an accident happen, to astonishment, how can people be so heartless, to anger, this feels like war. September the 11th, 2001 was a Tuesday, a day, as President George Bush said, changed everything for our country. And an interesting change took place in our small community just north of Richmond, Virginia. We began to plan for a community-wide prayer service to be held 3 days later at noon on Friday, September the 14th. This idea did not germinate from the church leaders or from the staff. Before we could even gather to start processing what we ought to be doing, calls began to come in. Calls from people we didn't know. Calls from young families who were wondering what to tell the children. Calls from professional people who traveled by the church every workday on their way to the financial and industrial districts of the city. There were veterans of Vietnam and Korea and World War II. They all called us, and they all asked the same question: when are you going to have a service so we can talk and pray together? That's why we met that Friday at noon. About 200 people showed up, and it has been 20 years, but I remember a very large number of them had not been to the church before. We sang patriotic hymns. I spoke on the sovereignty of God, even when the world around us seems to be crumbling. Think Psalm 28, "The Lord is my strength and my shield, in him my heart trusts." Think Jesus as the good shepherd who says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." People stood up and told how they had friends who worked in the Twin Towers, and they didn't know if they were safe. People spoke of being angry, afraid, lost. And we prayed. People were invited to come forward and kneel and stay as long as they wanted, and people remained in prayer long after the benediction for the service had been announced. I remember one young woman. I'd never seen her before, and I've never seen her since. But she prayed for God to be present, to comfort those in pain and grief, and to somehow heal the wounds of our nation and our world. Yes, life changed that day. And for many people, that change brought them to God through the church. Well, tomorrow's Sunday, and I don't know what religious traditions you have, or even if you have any at all. But if your heart is heavy or broken, if violence has come to you, if your world has been shaken, may I suggest you reach out to God through a local church? That's what people did 20 years ago, and it helped them. I say that because I was there. I saw it, and they told me so. And my friend, it just might help you too. So let it be. Amen.